Hi, I'm Rick McCawley, and welcome to Photo Essay. With me today to talk about photography is Brenda Siciliano, a student photographer at the University of Miami. Brenda, tell me a little bit about your background in photography. How did you get started doing this?
Well, actually, my background in photography, I took, I kind of wanted to be like Barbara Walters once. I started out as a journalism major 10 years ago at Broward Community College, and one of the courses that you had to take was photojournalism, and it sounded kind of like the easy one that you would get out of the way first. So I took it, and you know, I got through the course, nothing really with much depth. As a matter of fact, I didn't even own a camera. The teacher lent me one, so I got through the course and I got my A, and I thought, yeah, that was fun. And then what happened was I got married, and I, you know, proceeded to go to work and do and make money, what you're supposed to do. What I wound up doing was, on and off through about a 10-year period, was staying at BCC, switching my major and stuff like that. And eventually, about 2 years ago, I picked up the camera again, in just like something totally different. The pictures I used to take were just like little sort of nature shots and stuff like that.
Was there a teacher or something that influenced you to pursue the style of photography that you're doing now, or anybody who influenced, or was it something inside yourself?
Well, I think really what happened is that it's not like I said, I'm going to be a photographer and I'm going to set out to do this and I'm going to set out to take these kind of pictures. I think anything that you do it just because you love it, and I really do believe that photographing is something that you have to do because you love, because it's not something, you know, I don't have a business card that I can look at and say, you know, this is me, this is my title, and it's certainly not anything that that I haven't made any money at so far. That's not what it is, you know, all those are side benefits. You know, it's something that comes from what you are and the way your life progresses. You know,
are you just curious naturally about people?
Well, I went through something that as I was going through school, and I got married, and I got my house, and I got my matching dishes, and a dog, and all the things that when you look in a magazine you say, this is what I'm supposed to have. Yet I didn't feel a sense of fulfillment, or I felt that there was something out there that I wanted to do, but I just couldn't get at it. And I had a really great job. As a matter of fact, I sold stocks and commodity options for a couple years, and I made a lot of money. So I guess I had the freedom of like, well, I've done that. I'm over it. And I showed some pictures of mine from that 10-year ago period to friends, and they said, I think this is what you should be doing. I was kind of at an impasse, like I didn't know really what I was doing with my life. And I was still only 28, so I kind of started reading books. Diane Arbus, I really loved her photographs in the beginning, and that's kind of what inspired me. With her, her whole thing was that she came from a really, really upper-class environment and felt that life was something that was passing her by, and she sort of grabbed onto it through that.
Right.
I sort of went like from the other flip side of that.
Now she didn't start in photography doing like an Avedon thing where you're trying to make people look as good as they can or whatever. How would you describe your approach to how you approach photographing somebody?
Well, I have rules that I set up for myself, and from the beginning I always I don't like to sneak anything, and I don't like, it's like purse snatching, you know. I could go up and do a lot of sleeping homeless people, and you know, look, God knows we're in Miami. There's a lot of them.
But you're really compelled by doing portraits as opposed to other kinds of...
And I always like to ask, and I think that it's an encounter that you have with a person. It's something that you see in them. Certainly there are people that that I have not photographed that probably look more of like a type, but I think there's a relationship that you have, and after a while, the photograph itself is like maybe the souvenir that you walk away with, or something that happens.
So it's sort of
afterwards.
like exploring, like getting to know this person, and then photography is just sort of the way you get to know them. Is that, or to explore? I don't know.
Well, it has to be. It has to be really that way for me.
Yeah.
You know, people have told me that if I knew what I was doing, I might be dangerous. I think that if you think about it too much, like as a conceptual thing, something gets lost in there. I knew that when I started out there was things that I liked and they looked beautiful or scary or maybe you know, so ugly that they were cute, like a possum. But so I just went with that feeling, whatever it was. And then it was after a while, through examining my own work, and then of course when I started school at UM, and a really great teacher, David Kent, I thought, you know, this man isn't teaching me photography. What is he talking about? He would come off with some analytical stuff, and all of a sudden, 6 months later, I would realize that it did have something to do with what I was doing.
Okay. Let's take a look at some of your photographs here to give people an idea of what actually you're doing.
Okay. Well, this is kind of like the first photograph that I ever turned in for an assignment just about a year and a half ago. This is somebody named Tony, and what I started doing was going downtown to Camilla's house and down around Miami Avenue and First Street. I did volunteer work there to get to know people, and then eventually started working into photographs.
So you spent a lot of time really getting personally involved with the people that you photograph. I noticed that you know all the people by name, and you know, it's a real personal. Okay, we pick one that you don't. Okay.
Okay. This is just a girl that I happened to see. I was living in Pompano and commuting back and forth to UM up until a few months ago. I had a '71 Beetle. It was murder on me and the car. This is just a girl I met walking down the street, and sometimes I'll do that if I see something that I just can't pass up. I have to park and get out and like go after it.
So you're just sort of compelled to do this? Is that?
Yeah, and it's not getting any better either.
Let's take another look at one of the next picture.
Okay. This is Jennifer. She's also from downtown, out by Camilla's house and where Tony is, and she's about 22. Jennifer's really, really beautiful. She sleeps outside.
You say beautiful. You know, most people's interpretation of beautiful is, you know, the cover girl for Cosmopolitan. What do you mean by beautiful in the way you're saying it?
Well, I think that there's something there. You know, the cover girl from Cosmopolitan. Sometimes I wonder if all that stuff that they do to you to make you fit into that mold isn't really like covering up what's really there. I mean, there has to be something to be said for somebody that's beautiful, that, you know, probably has never seen a blow dryer before. I think there's something raw there, and that's really what I'm after. And I think that's something that's lost. I don't know if it's like too many trips to Disney World or whatever. We spend a lot of time trying to like ignoring what's really there and make something different. Right. You know, and that's, I don't know, my definition of beauty. I mean, her skin, her eyes, her face, her whole personality. It's just
the whole person. Huh? Now, this other photograph you have here of this is in Miami underneath a bridge.
Yeah, that's the Venetian Causeway, and I had to do. I try to incorporate things that I have to do with my school assignment into, you know, what I like to do on my own. And I just happened, for some people that I knew downtown, I mean, I guess I'm a networker.
Okay,
like
so,
a different
but you're a
kind of way.
networker in a different world than most of us really get to see, it seems.
That's only because you don't look.
Okay. Okay. Good. Let's take a look at the next picture you have up there.
Okay, this is from downtown too. This is just actually the front of Camilla's house, and I'm inside, and this is just a kid that happened by there. I had taken this shot once before with color slide film, but I'm like such a crummy technician that it didn't come out. So I got like a second chance at it, which is pretty amazing because usually you don't. When they do the food serving, the guys go through the back and come out through the front, and then after they're done, the brothers close the gate, and this kid, I think he wanted a cigarette, or he was just talking to me, or, you know, and you get a lot of attention, too, because there's not a lot of women that go down there, and... I
mean, is it dangerous for you as well, too?
Well, I started. I started out, you know, I always state my purpose, that this is what I want. I'm here, you know, for photographs. And I give out some change and stuff. Sometimes when I have it, sometimes I don't have it. But I would never pay for a picture. And I think that I'm okay because I like the attention that I get. You know, I'm not offended by it. Everybody likes attention. And you know, I think that it's a thing where I talk to them, they talk to me. These people are really never too busy. I mean, if I was into hanging around IBM in Boca, I'd probably have to wait like a lot longer time to get a lot more shots, you know?
Right. Now, how personal are these photographs? Or do you ever feel like your photographs are an expression of, or something you're trying to find out about yourself? I notice the next picture, this is your father?
Yeah, that's my dad.
Yeah.
That's this summer when I went up north. And I really wanted to get a picture of my dad, you know, because I think that that he is one of those people that's really unguarded, and that's kind of like how I see him in my mind, just how he was there. So I went. He lives in a rooming house, and I went, and sure enough, you know, he was like doing what he does, smoking a lot of cigarettes, laying around. The sun was shining outside, and you know, I love the eyes, and I think everybody wants to, like, have some really neat thing that they can remember of their parents, you know, and that's the souvenir part of it. So I think that that photograph of my dad, I mean, that's kind of what I brought away from our relationship anyway.
The next one over here, let's take a look at
Miami and the Metro Rail Station. And just again, somebody that I found and asked, and I probably like this guy because I love Bob Dylan and it reminds me of him with the harmonica. I also got a thing for like patch eyes, hook arms, and stuff like that.
Right, so these are people who, I mean, for the most part, don't fit into mainstream.
I don't know. I guess maybe I feel like I might not fit in either. So I guess I feel like I'm sort of representative. Although, you know, I'm not really that self-indulgent to believe that. I just do what I do because it makes me happy, and because I can. You know, a lot of people spend their lives and then they retire and they get a gold watch and they say like, oh my God, I have to like live with myself now, you know. At least being a photographer too, I can probably like keep myself working until I'm very, very old.
Yeah. Who was it, like Andy Warhol, who said everybody should be famous for 10 minutes or something like that?
15 minutes.
15 minutes,
and
okay.
this is mine right now.
And this is yours, okay,
Yeah.
we're here. And this photograph over here, though, to even get to this point of making this photograph, you started working for a...
Yeah, I have a friend of mine who sells actually rug cleaners. She pitches it on the Midway at Carnival. So this past summer, I went to work with her, and I thought it was going to be, you know, all photo. It turned out to be like a lot of work and a lot less photographing. But I finally did get to one place where they had an actual sideshow. This gentleman's name is Bruce. He's from Rhode Island, and he's a 712-pound man. Actually, between you and me, I think it's about 550. But that's Bruce. He's real sweet.
Your next picture over here is...
Okay.
Take a look at that.
This is again from downtown, and I only saw this guy once. Some people, you know, I had a relationship with that I know. Some I talked to on the phone. I just saw him once. And the reason I liked him is really kind of strange, is I used to love this guy Jesse Velasquez on Fame, and this guy reminded me of him. And he really does, too. And he was just kind of sitting there. He sleeps outside. And there's some really beautiful young men. I mean, it's not all your stereotypical downtrodden, you know, 60-year-old Mississippi Delta bluesmen. There's a lot of really, you know, young men my age.
Right.
I just thought he has beautiful eyes, really sweet. I never saw him again.
In this photograph over here, you've got, this is also from the Carnival?
That's from the Carnival. That's Melinda. She's Melinda Maxey. She's a bearded lady. She also sings country music. And that's her in the truck. Yeah, I got to know her, and we really got to be good friends. We spent a lot of time together for about 2 weeks. And we had all these elaborate plans to do stuff in costume, etc., and lingerie. And it turned out she's very shy. So I wound up getting like 3 frames on the last day of the show But I still talk to her on the phone, and she's a real sweetheart. She loves Charlie Daniels. Like I said, she sings country music. That's really what she wants to be. She wants to be a country western singer.
Right. That's great.
This is Paul, and this is also from downtown by Miami Avenue. Paul's not around anymore. I think he went somewhere to North Florida. And the interesting thing about him is that he writes songs. And somebody from UM in the music department was doing a video on homeless people, and they took Paul's songs and put them to music.
Wow. And
he just is so great. He used to, they're kind of like rap songs, but more with an African influence. They're really intense about Miami and drugs and stuff like that.
You were just talking about like the beauty of these people. I mean, I know you're talking about you know, spiritual as well as physical beauty. I mean, he could be his form alone could be a sculpture or I mean, he's just beautiful, you know, raw beauty. What do you?
I've seen people in GQ that don't look like this.
Yeah.
You know, they would probably like to.
Right.
But you know, we have to like soften everything because, well, a lot of times something is for something, you know, to sell something or for people to identify with. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of talent out there and a lot of wisdom too. I mean, if you spend time and talk to people, there's something that you can learn from everyone, you know, if
So
you're willing.
it's a learning experience as well as anything else for you too. And we got this picture of the.
Yeah, this is Lincoln Road Mall in Miami, just kind of like typical of what goes on. The thing I like about this picture is that if you notice, the guy has a baseball hat, the other guy has one on, they have the same kind of printed shirts, and I mean, it's like the uniform of the day. But they're really sweet. I like the older people because, again, they have time for you, you know, and they're like still there. There's something to be said for that.
Yeah.
This is Barbara. This is also from downtown. And a lot of people said that Barbara used to be an actress. I don't know. I haven't seen her around in a while, but she's very well spoken, very well mannered. She's just a lovely lady, really. And like I say, I haven't. Some people you see, and then you don't see them again, and you wonder, you know, what happened to them.
I mean, do you ever feel like that they're part of an invisible society? That I know people walking down the street, you know, may not want to talk to a homeless person or whatever, and here you come along with a camera wanting to photograph them.
Well, a homeless person, but I try to look at every person as an individual.
Right.
You know, I mean, nobody's without prejudice. I mean, I was born in, you know, in where we live, but that's just the way I have to do it because I can't live with that kind of negative energy going on. You know, it's not healthy for me.
Right. You've got this portrait.
This is a lady named Maud, and she lives on the beach where I just moved to 4 months ago. I love the beach. The beach is like I said about Disney World, you know, people keep going there, but I just can't understand why. Anyway, Maud's on one of the floats that regularly cruise by the beach. Maud is, I met her, she was looking for an apartment. She lived in a hotel and she lives on Social Security and she's paying less than $200 a month. It turned into like a crack hotel and they closed it down. Maud has 300 dresses and nowhere to put them. She does have a place to live now, but I find that interesting. You know, she's a really sweet lady and she recites poetry and she's just like somebody that anybody would be enriched by knowing, and we're renovating our buildings, yet, you know, we don't do much for our people.
Right.
This is a guy named Scott, another person that I met only one time. On the flats down by Bicentennial Park, and I was cruising through the park and I happened to look over and I looked on these flats and the water's all stagnant and I said, no. I mean, the guy looks just like Jesus. And I just, you know, got out of the car and started talking to him. He was really sweet. He was coming from somewhere in the Midwest, and he was, I don't know how he got this route, but he was on the way to California, and he said that Jesus wanted him to start a church, and we talked about the Bible and stuff, and he was just such a gentle spirit. I mean, he was beautiful.
There's a tremendous, you know, depth to the eyes in your photographs. Is that...
Maybe that's what I identify. I don't know who, well, I'm not really good at quoting quotes, but remembering whose they were, about eyes being the mirrors to the soul or windows to the soul or something like that. I mean, that's, I guess, what I try to get in a photograph, if I could be that presumptuous.
Yeah, it really comes across that way, though.
That.
Especially with that photograph, and then this one again, too, of the...
This is just, I don't know his name, but I know that he used to be a dancer. And he reminds me of, actually he reminded me of Fred Astaire. And that's this past Christmas Day, Wolfie's on the beach. And he was just there with some friends, and I thought he was kind of like, who was it? Lisette Modell says the more specific you are, the more general you'll be. And, you know, you want to get, like, something, there's a place you love to go, and you want to get, like, one thing that captures the flavor of it, and I think this guy kind of does it. This is from Thanksgiving, and it's downtown by Camilla's house. And, again, I don't know this guy's name, or I forgot. I only met him once, and he's another person that's kind of, like, gone, and I just loved him. I mean, he reminds me of, like, urban cowboy. He came from the Midwest, and... he just reminds me of, like, your typical sort of male hustler person. Those eyes, and I mean, he's
again,
gorgeous.
The eye contact's really there, too.
I mean,
real resonance and depth, and
these are like
even just the way you photograph them.
The sidewalk Chippendales or something is what it reminds me of. That is a person named Tracy. That's one of the kids who hangs around by the 21st Street Boardwalk on the beach. And she's almost a complete transsexual, only 17. And I have recently found out that Tracy has a twin brother that lives in New York that's a complete transsexual. But Tracy's really sweet. And a lot of the kids down there are. That's kind of like a whole different story.
Different world altogether.
This is my friend Smurfette. And she hangs around Bicentennial Park downtown. I haven't seen her recently. She's been calling me on the phone. I know that she was cut up. Somebody attacked her with a knife. She's okay now, but she really loves to have her picture taken. She's somebody that I'm really close to, that I see a lot. This is from a place that I was going in Miami called Delta House. It is a home for quote-unquote mentally handicapped people. That's Maria watching TV in the day room there. I just love her. She has like the most beautiful hands. She has a boyfriend named Edgar too. Edgar's bald, and they make just like the coolest couple. This is somebody else from Bicentennial Park, and I don't know this guy's name. I see him around. I don't know this guy's name. He was just kind of, somebody said that this kind of reminded them of what, a Botticelli painting or something. Just a lot of grace there. And the eyes and stuff like that.
The real simple images and very straightforward. I mean, you're photographing direct on.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I try to do something with more than one person in it, but it's really
seems
hard.
Very personal that way.
That's another one from Delta House, a lady in the day room. She reminds me of Judy Garland. That's probably my most...
Judy Garland eyes, yeah.
That's probably my favorite photograph, even though the only thing that's really in focus is the catchlight in the eyes, but I just love that photograph. This is Chris. Again, from downtown. And let's see, that's another photograph from Delta House, standing outside.
There's some real intensity there, too.
Yeah, he reminds me of just like, I was kind of scared deer. I could really relate to that a lot. This is a friend of mine, my old boyfriend. His name's Michael. And this is the day he left. He moved away to New York. And I like this because I don't think it's any different than any other photograph, even though he comes from like a different world, you know, but it's definitely there. There again, that's from Delta House.
Like the hands down here too, just the real soft tenderness between them too.
Yeah, I started doing a lot with couples, and that's like one of my favorites. And this is a friend of mine who lives in Pompano. That one's, his name's Bob. And he shaved his beard off since, but he kept it on just for... He reminds me of John Astin from the Addams Family. I don't know. I find like these movie stars walking around.
That's amazing.
That's my girlfriend Gabrielle and her husband Ray. They've since had their baby.
Oh, that's really nice.
Eugene Raymond Callahan. And they're probably one of the few happily married couples that I know. This is just a guy where I got my tire changed in Pompano, and I loved him.
So just about everywhere you find people that... you're interested in photographing. This is a picture of your
Yeah, this is like that and Judy Garland. This is probably one of my most favorite photographs. That's Louis. That's my sweetheart, and his mom. And I love that picture. I just love that picture. I mean, I think that's what real people do, you know.
Yeah.
There's
so tender.
And this is from Pompano, just a family that was hitchhiking. This guy was hitchhiking with his kid. I passed by and asked him if I could photograph him. We all piled in my Volkswagen. It wasn't easy, and they got a ride, and I got the photograph. I sent them a copy, and then they sent it back, address unknown, so I don't know where they are now.
Well, Brenda, thank you very much for being with us today.
Oh, thanks, Rick.
It's really neat to see some different visions, especially out of student photographers. Thank you very much for being here, and thank you very much for watching us. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
My name is Rick McCawley. I've been working photojournalism in South Florida during the community's most tumultuous times. I started at the Miami Herald in 1980, at a time when the city was the murder capital of the country. There was one murder every single day. There were riots, the mass immigrations of Cubans, Haitians, and a thriving drug trade. When I was studying photojournalism at the University of Florida, I learned about three principal types of photojournalism. The first is what they called the F8 and Be There Club. Photographers who made it their job to be at the right place, at the right time, to capture the action as it unfolded in front of them. Pictures like the Hindenburg exploding and the Oswald shooting are good examples. The decisive moment photographers sought to emulate Cartier-Bresson, who strove to capture the power, the feeling and emotion of a moment in time through the perfect convergence of light, action, and composition. And the new photojournalists, like myself, strove to build on both of these movements and add one more element, to interpret life with perspective and vision, to better enlighten the viewer about the world around them. Examples include Walker Evans, Robert Frank, and Sebastian Salgado. Amid the daily grind of assignments, I sometimes came across scenes that were more meaningful than the single event I was there to photograph. If I was lucky, I'd capture a slice of culture that embodied the times we live in. So as you walk around looking at the photographs in this exhibition, think about whether the photograph illuminates the bigger picture, what it was like to be alive at a particular time and a place in South Florida history. Take a look at these pictures. Take a look at what it was like to be there, to bear witness to a time when changing cultures and a changing South Florida was happening. Sometimes it was funny, sometimes it was fun, and I hope you enjoy the photographs and the exhibition.